The Shroud of Turin is back in the news, and my nerdy 90s heart couldn't be happier. As a kid growing up in the 90s, I remember the Shroud of Turin being one of those super interesting mysteries. If you don't know what the Shroud of Turin is, it is a linen cloth that bears an image of a man on it, and it is believed to be the burial cloth of Jesus. It is preserved in the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist in Turin, Italy. But I'm going to start in 1898. That is when an Italian photographer takes the very first photograph of the shroud. Here is that photograph. Now this is a photograph of the shroud basically cut in half. It is just one long piece of linen. It would be laid down, the body on top of it, and then the rest folded over the top. So this one would be the bottom, and then this would be over the top. Now this is the negative of that photograph, and the image is much clearer. Now in 1978, the Shroud of Turin Research Project does a whole scientific analysis on the shroud. In 1988, they do radiocarbon dating, which dates the shroud to the medieval time period. There is debate about that because people say that the carbon dating was done on a piece of repaired fabric, not the original. In 2022, that carbon dating is challenged. X-ray, fluorescence, and a chemical analysis was done, and the conclusion was that the shroud was much older. And this is the 3D analysis of the shroud. Some of the data they gathered from the shroud is very interesting. For one, the image depicts wounds consistent with Roman crucifixion. During the medieval time period, when skeptics say the shroud was made, artists depicted crucifixion through the hands. And here, it is through the wrist, which we now know is the only way that it would have worked. Another interesting tidbit is that you do not see thumbs because when you are crucified through your wrist, your thumb folds back. Pollen grains found on the shroud are native to specifically Jerusalem. And this pollen is from plants to make oils, ointments, and balms used in burial. The bloodstains were not paint or pigment, but were indeed blood. Type AB to be specific. Also, the bloodstains were on the cloth before the image was formed. The image rests on the very surface of the fabric and is not penetrated into the fabric like it would be if it was painted. Dirt samples analyzed are from the Jerusalem area, specifically Golgotha. Skeptics say that this is just a medieval piece of artwork, but no artwork of this kind from that time period exists. We barely can do anything close to this today, which I think would be a very interesting project for someone to endeavor. One of the hypotheses for it being authentic is ultraviolet radiation. Basically, ultraviolet radiation created the image during Jesus' resurrection. Now, do I think they'll ever find out one way or the other if this is authentic or not? No. If it was proven one way or the other, would it affect me and my faith? No. What are your thoughts on the Shroud of Turin?